1 degree north of the equator, there is a small island, a thriving tropical paradise. And from the roots of this jungle has sprung one of the fastest growing cities in the world. This is Singapore, one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. But even with 5.4 million people, there is a wild side. We will explore the urban wild to discover how nature has evolved with the city. Across a single day, from unique perspectives. Deploying the latest filmmaking technology, we will uncover secrets and unexpected encounters. From bird's eye view to beneath the surface, in the light of day to the darkest corners. Clocking in with the daily commute, in the thick of the urban jungle, a home to an astonishing 40,000 species of animal and plant. A wild city. Another day begins in the heart of the city. In one of Singapore's most remarkable places. In the space of a decade, Marina Bay has evolved into a modern garden habitat. The key developments, the Marina Barrage and gardens by the bay, turned a marine bay into a thriving ecosystem and made a new home for some first-time city dwellers. Smooth-coated otters. On sandbanks, originally meant for eye-catching plants, Mum and Dad and their 5 kids have made it their preferred spot to dry off. The parents once lived on Singapore's outer coasts, where they had to cope with dodging predators and invading urban development. But in the inner city, the family have found an unexpectedly comfortable home. One good enough to support a large family by otter standards. And they're already making a splash. From land reclaimed from the seas, humans have created gentle slopes, clean fresh water, and easy-to-catch fish. Perfect real estate for otters. Now they've hit the big time in the big city. The otters' fishing trips are a regular occurrence, but you have to be quick to catch them in the act. They are one of the many winners in Singapore's changing landscape. And with keen fans, their fame is growing with every snap. The otters are already hard at work. For the rest of the city, the commuting day has just begun. And far from the heart of the city, In Bukit Timah, a suburb on the edge of ancient forests, another local family is starting their own daily commute. They're rowdy, they're boisterous, and they're hitting the streets. Meet the macaques of Hindhead Drive. They're one of nearly 20 troops of long-tailed macaques in Singapore. Evolved for life on the edge of forests, the macaques are pre-adapted for living in these suburbs. They already have the skills to live with humans. Every day starts with grooming, reaffirming community bonds, strengthening the group. Grooming is social currency for the macaques. High-ranking members are groomed most often, while outsiders at the fringes are neglected. But the troop doesn't stay at ground level for long. Soon it's time to get to work. Leading the way is Achilles, the troop's alpha male. Always watching over and ready to protect his harem from danger. Don't be fooled, however. With macaques, females are in charge, and there's only room for 1 or 2 males in a troop. In the center of the group, young mother Ibu watches over her young baby as it grows bigger and bolder by the day. Sharing babies is a sign of trust between troop members and a way to bolster relationships. But after a 6-month pregnancy, Ibu's naturally quite protective of her little one. And at the outside is low-ranking female Katerina. Stuck at the bottom rung on the social ladder, there aren't many in her troop happy to be her friend. Her crippled hand is grim evidence of the rougher side of living in the city. Each year, traffic claims the life of at least one macaque. Clear of the road, the troop drops by the condo next door. Visits like these are inevitable for animals so accustomed to the human environment on their doorstep. Houses and gardens can be an easy source of food, but only if you don't get caught. Living together so closely, the macaques have learned what they can get away with, especially when it comes to food. And it's usually our fault for encouraging them. While they seem like the neighbours from hell, they're really a close-knit family. But when you're stuck at the bottom of the pile, like Katerina, the bonds don't feel very close. Most days are trouble-free as they leave to patrol their forest home. They begin their working day. But how well their career prospects look by the end. While the old forests stop at the nature reserves, newer ones have spread around the towers and streets. Looking around in the morning sun, one colour catches the eye more than most. Green. It wasn't always so. A concerted effort to bring greenery into the urban landscape began here with the planting of this rain tree in 1971. Since then, more than 2 million trees have been planted around the city. These rain trees came from South America, but Singapore is their home away from home. The bark of these trees have made high-rise living for native plants. The plants, in turn, have attracted local animals, creating homes for a wide variety. From giving changeable lizards cover from predators, to foraging spots for ants and termites, food for stick insects, and homes for rarer sights like the banded woodpecker. These are islands of biodiversity right next to the road, supporting miniature communities, like nature's high-rise flats. And before the day is over, the city's residents will witness battles for supremacy. The agony of rejection and shocking sudden death. Morning gives way to lunchtime in the wild city, and there's no shortage of tasty treats on offer. The sultry climate gives rise to a plethora of fruit. But for many, there's no beating the notorious durian. A local delicacy, it has a pungent smell and an even stronger taste. But the durian experts aren't on the streets. As alpha male, Achilles is first on the scene. The spiky skin is no match for powerful jaws and sharp teeth. Keeping it to himself is much harder. In just a few minutes, it's all gone. Nearby, Ibu has the chance to let her little one have a taste. But when durian is on the table, manners go out of the window. This durian is proving tough to crack, even for a big, strong alpha male. As the rest of the troop give up, outcast Katerina takes her turn. With a hand mangled by a car accident, she has to approach the problem in her own way. Sometimes all it takes is experience and the right kind of grip. Left behind alone, Katerina finds that living at the edges of the troop has some fringe benefits. Strolling back to the edge of the forest, the troop arrives at the Reserve Visitor Centre, their own personal penthouse. Bellies full, the females preen and socialise like girlfriends on the gossip. Katerina is riding high from her success with the durian. Now seems like a good time to get closer with the others in the troop. Dropping in casually, she approaches. But there is no warm welcomes here. She's just too low in the order to be accepted. Stung by rejection, Katerina retreats to a safe distance. It seems like there's no place for her with the rest of the troop. If she wants to change that, she will need to approach the problem in a different way. As the city bustles on, some neighbourhoods let us step back in time. To meet a bird that might seem familiar, but is very different. Red jungle fowl, the ancestor of the chicken. Every variety of chicken in the world today is descended from this single Asian species. But these are not farm animals, they're the original article. These wild predecessors roamed the forests of Singapore in the days when it was just a handful of villages. Cock-a-doodle-doo was once heard all over the island. A cry of dominance for every male to hear. Only the strongest get to father the next generation. Males look for the best feeding spots and guide females towards them, keeping an eye out for danger. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get his hen safely to the other side. Unlike their domestic cousins, jungle fowl are able to jump and fly for short distances. As the males grow up, they start to compete for female attention. The lawn becomes a dojo, a martial arts training ground for an adult battle, fought with sharp spurs on their feet. When two evenly matched males meet, the eyes lock and battle begins. Only one can win the right to mate. The loser is forced into retreat. Scenes like this may soon become a thing of the past. Wild jungle fowl are common in Asia, but there are only roughly 100 left in Singapore. Pushed to the margins by urban development, not every animal can keep up with the city's breakneck pace. As a buffer against the spreading construction, Singapore has 4 protected nature reserves. For human Singaporeans, they're sanctuaries. But for others, they can be death traps. There are killers lurking here. Hidden here is one of nature's strangest inventions, a plant that eats flesh. Singapore is home to 3 species of pitcher plant which thrive across Southeast Asia. In soil poor in nutrients, the pitcher plant gets sustenance by luring insects to their doom. The trap, like flowers, uses a sweet nectar as bait. Insects, like these weaver ants, are enticed to the rim. But soon they're on a slippery slope, and with one wrong move, the ant drowns in a pool of fluid. Unable to climb out because of slippery walls and microscopic hairs. Soon, the plant will secrete enzymes that liquefy the body and allow it to absorb the nutrients. Then it will wait silently amongst the greenery. A killer in our midst. Other city dramas are unfolding out in the open. Here, a new life is about to begin. An angsana tree, centuries old, is just the right kind of high-rise home for a pair of oriental pied hornbills. Commonly seen during the colonial days, clearing and construction left these birds without a home, and they had vanished from the main island by the 1920s. But since 2004, breeding programs and reintroduction have enabled them to flourish again. It's a return that holds a fascination for a growing number of people with wild families as neighbours. The huge beak is multifunctional, strengthening their nest-building ability, attracting mates and amplifying their calls. Dad is the breadwinner, finding fruits and insects to bring back to his brood. Having been sealed in with the eggs inside the tree cavity for 2 months, Mum is now on the outside. Which can only mean one thing. It's time for their chick to fledge. Fully grown but still inside the tree, the hornbill chick is ready in body, but not in mind. Cold feet. It's going to take a bit of encouragement to get it to leave the safety of the nest. But under the watchful eyes of the parents, the little chick bravely steps into the light. It's a big world out there, but the family will stick together until the youngster can fend for itself. Now they have official help all around the city. The hornbill's homecoming brings hope that the mistakes of the past can be repaired, and for the return of some of the lost wild. But each day, the city brings new threats to its neighborhood wild. The late afternoon heat is inescapable. For days now it has been hot and dry. While some are undeterred, the macaques know that a nap is the best way to deal with the rising temperature. Of course, no one told the youngsters. It doesn't look like Katerina will get the chance to doze. Running, swinging and tumbling hones their skills for a life in the trees where a sure grip is vital. While most of the adults rest, Katerina ends up acting as nanny for the kids. After her earlier fight, doing this kind of favour for the others might just get her into their good books. But with the heat, the forest pools are beginning to draw the youngsters near. It's time to take a dip. First with the older juveniles, then the little ones. And before long, it's a full-on pool party. Achilles stands by as if playing lifeguard. This looks like a lot of fun for the baby, but Ibu isn't letting him anywhere near that ruckus. Macaque mothers actively protect their young for nearly 18 months. And soon enough, the pool is closed. The city's fresh waters aren't just a place for macaques to splash around. Sunny waters are the only place to be for more than 120 species of dragonflies and damselflies found in Singapore. The crimson parasol, the blue skimmer, the yellow-barred flutterer. Incredibly ancient, this group of insects first evolved around 300 million years ago and have scarcely changed. Perched on a high vantage point, perception is everything, and these insects are superbly equipped. Massive eyes with more than 30,000 lenses and paired wings allow them to spot and catch food over 10 meters away. It's the perfect configuration for hunting on the wing. And this insect has stumbled into the kill zone. Target acquired. The fastest flying insects in the world, they catch 95% of the prey they set out to hunt. Against other flyers, there's no contest. They're the lions of the air. The heat of the day reaches its peak. The equatorial temperature drives moisture skywards. Churning air currents and thermals create the perfect mixing pot for rain. Across the country, a single day's downpour can splash down more than 800 million litres of rain, sending everyone looking for a dry place to wait it out. Reservoirs refill from 7,000 kilometres of drainage channels, designed to catch every last drop. The deluge starts a chain reaction, kicking parched plants into high gear. Blooming marvels create the garden in the city. But after the rain, a darker side of this garden city is revealed. The refuse of millions has been flushed into the reservoirs. Even with the aid of rubbish-collecting boats, there's a constant struggle to keep on top, with nearly a ton of waste collected every day. While the city has earned its clean and green reputation, maintaining it requires ceaseless dedication. The rubbish is a challenge for the otter family, but they aren't mere scavengers. They're hunters, and they have a clever trick up their sleeve. Heading over land, they get sneaky to clean garden ponds and turning them into fish supermarkets. This family are nothing if not adaptable. And it's the reason why they've bounced back after being declared extinct just 20 years ago. They're not the sort of family to let a little rubbish ruin their day. As the evening sun starts to descend, the otters wrap up their fishing in Marina Bay. There's just enough time to greet the locals before heading out of the reservoir. Heading upstream into the Culling River, the pontoons provide them with a diversion for their curiosity. This landscape might be radically different to what they're used to, but when there is food nearby, it's easy to adapt. Following the course of the waterways can take the family 10 kilometres inland, perhaps to a hidden underground den. With new generations, the otters may spread far around the city, wherever the waters may take them. But under the cloak of darkness, other creatures crawl out and spread far. Under the streets and into the dark corners of the night. Evening falls over Singapore. It's the end of a long day for the macaque troop. Their patrol around their home patch has taken them in a loop 4 kilometres long. But now they have come home. Gathering under their roosting tree, it's the perfect opportunity to catch up, groom and socialise before heading upstairs to bed. Ibu connects with the mother's circle, while the kids play around them. In this safe place, Ibu is comfortable enough to let her baby go exploring by itself. At nearly 4 months old, his black baby fur is beginning to show signs of adult brown. He's finally getting a taste of independence. Time to play with the big kids. But when the others play too rough, Mother's arms don't seem quite as bad. By the road, Katerina has found a tasty, discarded titbit. Food is a big deal for the macaques, and they're not prone to sharing. But surprisingly, perhaps full of her durian, she allows the juvenile to have a piece. Going halves with one of the troop's kids, she might have just started a friendship. But will it be enough to bring her closer in with the family? In the fading light, Achilles takes the lead once again, heading up into the trees. For Baby, it's another first. Climbing the tree all by himself. High in the tallest tree is a sensible place to sleep. It can be dangerous down below after dark. With the aid of a thermal camera, we can see what happens when the sun goes down. You may have thought that they go straight to sleep. But grooming and socializing continue after lights out. But there's no invitation for Katerina. Too many times she's faced rejection. Climbing the tree now could start a fight even worse than the one she faced on the roof. But lonely and exposed on the ground, she's vulnerable to nocturnal motorized predators. Weighing up the options, it's time to take a chance. Risking rejection, she begins climbing towards the hostile troop. At night, it's not only the sights of the city that change, the sounds do too. There's an underworld that sings out from below. Using infrared imaging to see in the dark, the singers are revealed. Banded bullfrogs, one of 29 species of frogs in Singapore. In the moist environment, these frogs have a sheltered home stocked with easy food and a concert hall in which to sing and attract mates. They're not the only ones down here. Where there are rats, their predators are seldom far behind. Singapore is home to 58 species of snake, each adapted to their own niche. Forest floors are home to the white-bellied rat snake, while whip snakes patrol the trees. Some wait in ambush like Wagner's pit viper, while the deadly Malayan blue coral snake is an active hunter. The most are shy of humans and aren't often seen. Following the trail of rats brings one snake into the city on a regular basis. Reticulated pythons can grow to nearly 10 meters long, the longest snake species in the world. When these cultures clash, only a few are prepared, like animal rescue volunteers on constant standby. Out in the eastern suburbs, a shift change is about to occur. One set of creatures are coming home, while another is just heading out. A palm civet, locally called musang, and toddy cat. These relatives of the mongoose have swapped forest for the sheltered comfort of a roof cavity. With perfect balance, the civet has no trouble with the tightrope act on the way to find food. Normally solitary, they hunt through trees and leaf litter for insects, lizards, and fruit. Loners in the city, civets have strictly bounded territories, regularly defined by scent marks. Smelling strongly of local pandan plants, leaving droppings of the civets' ways of making themselves at home. Just like their daylight counterparts, the night creatures of Singapore are highly adapted. Cave nectar bats. As their name suggests, they normally prefer roosting in caves. But in Singapore, this highway overpass has become a famous roost for nearly 500 bats. The colony divides into single-sex groupings, huddling together during the day. But after dark, the bats leave their home, drawn by a sweet smell on the breeze. The bats will travel up to 40 kilometers to find their favorite night spot. These bats are no vampires. They hunger for the sweet nectar of night flowers. Bats like these are crucial to the survival of these plants. Some flowers are pollinated by nothing else. Dawn approaches, and the bats return once more to their roadside lodgings. Morning comes again to Hindhead. The macaque troop starts a brand new day. With them is Katerina. After climbing the tree the night before, her gamble has paid off. Nannying the troop kids, sharing her food, and dogged determination have won the respect of the troop. Now she's becoming a part of the family, no longer the loner stuck at the edges. From now on, her future looks brighter. Katerina has won her place in the same way the urban wild has survived, with flexibility, adapting to change. And sometimes humans do too. Like this nature-watching group, more and more people are starting to see a new side to the metropolis. It's a place that they share with their neighbours, worthy of preserving. One of the fastest changing countries in the world is showing that with our help, the wild can adapt and flourish, even in the places we live and work. They are a part of our lives, as we are part of theirs. This small tropical island is more than just a city. It's a home for nature. A wild city.